Wacky Wednesday, everybody. We are back. Guess who's back? This guy's back. Rocking some new artwork, tattooing, baby. We are back, having a blast. Seasonal depression's over. College football. 8 hours of greatness on Saturday, starting at noon. Texas, Ohio State, and we got NFL next weekend, baby. Let's freaking go. How we doing? I took some time off. We are back, locked, loaded, ready to go. Football's back, and I am so happy. So some news around the league. We got, I wanted to start off with Trey Hendrickson and Terry McLaurin got their money. So I wanted to touch on both those things. I want to touch on some other stuff going on in the league. Amari Cooper's back with the Raiders. They got Kenny Pickett. I'll dive into that in a second. But I wanted to start off with this. So Terry McLaurin, the underrated, underappreciated wide receiver for the Washington Redskins, Kevin Craner, the biggest Redskins fan I know, he finally signed. They caved in, gave him 3 years, $96 million. Deserve it. Good. They had to get that deal done because, listen, I think the Bengals and the Redskins are kind of similar in terms of how their front offices have been done. I think the Bengals, while cheap and weird and kind of dysfunctional, they're not on that level of the Redskins where it's just so bad with Dan Snyder near the end. I do think they had to get Terry McLaurin side for this reason. Jaden Daniels is your franchise. And knowing what I know last year and just the kind of guy he is, and I said this before, he was Mr. Indiana down in Indianapolis. He was born and raised there. He's just a good dude. And he's gone through the mud. He's basically been like Andy Dufresne in Shawshank where he had to go through 500 piles of shit, okay? So I get it from that perspective. However, I will say this. Washington's not far off. And I think, had they not gotten him, this would not have been a Super Bowl team. Because I'm feeling like right now, Washington's got that aspirations. And I think they could get there. They might not. I don't know if they'll get back to the NFC Championship game. We'll see. I mean, it's hard to do in this league. Year in, year out, it's hard. But I think they have the people in place. And with Dan Quinn and Adam Peters, and they're being aggressive. Okay, this is what you can do on a rookie contract. I've said this before. You know, you can do this now because you got this quarterback on the cheap. So you can go cheap labor and bring all these people in. It's gonna be key though how long this lasts because, with what the salary cap is and all that. And I gotta put pressure on Cliff Kingsbury because his offense has been figured out. Now I think this kid is better than what Kyler Murray is, which today I heard that I'm over Kyler Murray. I'm just done. I've been saying that for years. But what do I know? And so I just do think that the Commanders are in the right spot. Redskins, I'm still going to call them Redskins, whatever. But I'm glad they got that Terry McLaurin deal done. They had to get it done. They're a real player in that division now. I think the Giants are going to be a lot better. I think the Eagles, obviously, are the top of the line. Commanders. And don't be surprised if the Giants turn some heads. So watch out for that. The Bengals finally, and I mean finally, got this Trey Hendrickson deal done. Jiminy Christmas. Ay, cabron. Oh, Jesus, they got him a deal. About time. Why, Cincinnati? Why do you do this? I know, because you got a 90-year-old as a GM whose scouting department is cheap as shit. And here's the thing. I was saying this last night. I'm watching the Bulls documentary a couple weeks ago. Not the whole thing, but I saw a clip of it. There's one thing I'm very passionate about, and you guys know me, I love football as much as it is that you cannot fake, and I mean this wholeheartedly, cannot fake cheap. And the Bengals, shame on you. You are a cheap organization. You're a joke. You had one quarterback leave the franchise and say, get me out of here. Joe Burrow, if they don't make the playoffs next year, Joe Burrow's going to have that. And you're going to blame, only you to blame, because you did not do enough to help this kid. So I'm glad they got the Henderson deal done because their defense was so bad, even with him last year, leading the league in sacks. So they had to get that done. Somehow, some way or another, they had to get them done. So we'll see what happens in Cincinnati. It was 1 year, $30 million deal. That's fine. But it should have been done sooner. And then the Micah Parsons thing, I'm not even going to touch on that today. I'm so over it. I don't know what's going to happen. Jerry's going to pull a Jerry where he's going to do it last second. And it's just not going to matter. So No waste of time doing that. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. So, Monday, I want to touch on my Raiders real quick. And then I want to touch on the Adam Thielen trade. So, the Raiders brought back Amari Cooper, which, again, I loved him. I was the biggest fan coming out of Alabama. I loved him coming out. I still hold my opinion that I thought he was better than Odell Beckham. I know Odell had all the crazy catches, but I just liked Amari's demeanor. He was a me guy. He was a we guy, not a me guy. And, I just preferred him. And, he had some drops and he had some issues and he was kind of inconsistent at times. But him and Derek Carr, AC/DC had a connection. And it was electric that first couple years in Oakland. It popped. And, I'll never forget the Raven game where he had that touchdown where Carr's getting smacked as he's throwing it. It's been awesome. And I truly think that bringing Amari back gives him some veteran leadership. He still can play. There's no doubt. Is he what he was? I don't know. But he's had a lot. And he's been, he bounced around and, but he's a good player. And he's always had a quietly good career. And I think, bringing him back, I'm okay with it, Am I getting the guy from 2016? I don't know. Is DC going to come out of retirement? That's what it feels like. So, we'll see. And then they got Kenny Pickett, backup role. They need a guy to fill in the place of Aiden O'Connell. Whatever. I'm okay with it. That's fine. So that's kind of my take on that. And then the last thing I want to touch on was Adam Thielen goes from Carolina back to Minnesota. So the trade details, I wrote this down today from Adam Schefter, who I trust. So the Vikings the Thielen goes, they get a conditional 2026 7th-round pick and the 2027 5th-round pick to Minnesota in exchange to Carolina for a 2026 5th-round pick and a 2027 4th-round pick. This is a good trade. And listen, I'm bullish on Carolina this year. I told you guys that. Losing Thielen will hurt because I feel like he brought a lot of that leadership and kind of got Bryce Young back on track last year. Now, is Thielen what he once was? No. But I was thinking about this at work today. He kind of got that, like, David Justice feel in Moneyball, where been in a lot of big games, NFC Championship game. He's been in the playoffs bunch with Minnesota during his run. Not a lot, but some. And I just kind of feel like he's that seasoned vet that kind of knows the ins and outs of how to work and be a pro, right? And look at this, man. He goes back to his home. He's born and raised in Minnesota. He goes back there. And now Minnesota, this is do or die for J.J. McCarthy. I'm not saying, he can't get another team and succeed somewhere else. But this is, handpicked. I mean, what better place you got? Think about it. You have it made. You've got a stacked offensive line, a retooled offensive line. You're going to get Addison's out the first couple games, but you still got Justin Jefferson. You have all these guys around. This is your time. I think him and Bryce Young. Now, I think Bryce has got a little bit, I don't know, kind of a hot seat, but I think JJ's on the biggest microscope because Minnesota's expected to be good again. Carolina's expected to be, pretty good, but not great yet. And so it's just going to be very fascinating to me how both those guys pan out. And I'm just so glad football's back. Thank you. Notre Dame's back. Wisconsin's back tomorrow. It's the best time of year. It's like Christmas for me. I appreciate you guys loving my videos. Hit the like, subscribe button, share to your friends. I greatly appreciate you guys. More content's coming. Adios. Godspeed. Let's go.